This didn't start out as a vlog, but I guess it's ended up being a vlog. I have been tasked with making a butterbell, but I don't really know what it is. So I need to do some research and I need to do some drawings and I need to make some tests. My friend who wants this butterbell has described it to me and I have seen some photos of them, but I don't quite understand it. But let me tell you what I think it is, then I'm going to do some research and then we can go from there. I think it might be a French butterbell or just a butterbell. I'm going to clip this to myself so I can use both hands to gesticulate. It's a two-part jar. It's a jar that you put your, like a little cylinder that you put your butter into, and then like a cup that you put a little bit of water in and you put the butter into that, and the water stops the butter from going rancid. So there's like a little channel of water going around between the jar, the bell, and the other bit. It sounds like I don't actually know what I'm talking about, so I do think we should probably look this up. To be honest, I really like the sound of this. If it is cool, then I think I want one too. I have an issue in the summertime when the butter is out. Like I like butter, so I'm not putting it in the fridge because I want to spread it onto my bread. But in the summer it goes gross really quickly, or it melts in the butter dish. So I do think there's an issue here. An issue with society and solutions, butter solutions. And as truly a butter fan, like I like butter so much. I don't understand why I haven't done this before. Okay, this is what I think a butterbell is. The butter jar, like this, and then this is the water jar that goes around the outside. And so the butter goes in here, I think, and then the water goes in here. Just a little bit of water. But I think that's gonna look ugly. I wonder if we could make this part go round and then this part go in. That's a pretty bad drawing, but does this make sense? Butter's in here, water is in here, but this goes around it, so it would look like that. Oh my god, these are the worst drawings ever. Okay, so that's not as bad as I thought. So this is the base. This is just a cup. This top thing is the lid, and maybe we can add a little flourish. A knob. Let's do some research and see if I am actually correct. Oh, no internet. Oh, look, I was right. That's what they look like. Oh, Le Creuset one. So that does feel French. The anatomy of a butterbell crop. Okay, I wonder if this being round is important. Okay, I feel like I should emulate that. Butterbells are TikTok's new favorite essential. Oh my god. My plan is a cup, how I usually would make it. This part here, how am I going to do that? Maybe a thick base, and then the bell part, and then later I will be able to trim this stuff off, leaving me with the little knob. Are we calling that a knob? Is that a handle? Anyway, we can trim that off and that'll be a handle. My friend wanted half a block of butter, which is like 150 grams or so. I think I just need to make a few of these. So let's say this is 10 centimeters of, and this will be, let's say 10. I have to just test it now, I think. Part of the fun is working something out on the fly. These drawings don't fill me with hope, but what does fill me with hope is that I've made a lot of things on the pottery wheel before. So I'm going to go with 300 grams of clay for each, and then I can always cut it down. Okay, let's do it. We have encountered a small problem, which is very easy to fix. As I was wedging up this clay, I drew the butterbell to scale and realized it's way too big. So I'm going to size down a little bit. This is to scale, which is pretty big, you know. I'm going to make one and then we're going to like see what it looks like in the third dimension, and we can decide how much smaller we want to go. We can just go from there. The reason I'm throwing on a bat is because I don't want them to warp at all when I take them off the wheel, because they are designed to sit into each other. First one. Okay, so this is going to be the cup part. I'll do the cup first to get kind of warmed up, and then I'm going to do the bell. Okay. So let's measure her up. That is 10 on the nose. Oh, it's not focusing. You're just gonna have to believe me, it's 10 on the nose, my God. 8.5. Okay, so 10 by 10 is way taller than that. I don't think we need to, but let's just do it because that's the size that I said would do. So let's just bring it up a little bit higher. Hopefully there's enough clay to do that. 10, perfect. It's interesting, split out a wee bit. It's interesting, in my head, this was gonna look really square, but this looks tall and not wide. I don't know if you can see it from there, it's kind of like a little bulbous. I'm doing bad. I was about to say I'm doing bad throwing on camera, and there we go. Right, this is fine. This is a practice one. We're not going to keep it being naughty. This serves me right. Obviously, we've got a wobble going on. 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters. That's crazy. That looks so much taller than it is wide. I mean, it's not like I've not made pots before. This is such a piece of shit. Okay, anyway, so from here we can learn. This is gonna hold so much butter, way more than 100 grams. This will hold like 500 or so. So we're gonna scale way, way down. First one, I don't know, piece of shit. I can visualize what something should look like, but I don't know how to translate that into measurements. When I said 10 by 10, I was like, yeah, that's like this big. It's not. This feels far more appropriate. Don't want something like a butterbell to be too thin because you're putting ceramic inside ceramic. You don't want it to chip easily, so maybe it's not a bad thing to be a little bit more chunky. Fun fact, in New Zealand where I'm from, butter comes in 500 gram block. It's not that fun. When I first moved here, I made a butter dish for myself, which has since broken, and I didn't even think about it. I just kind of made it to like what I thought would fit, a little bit bigger so it could shrink. And then I took it home and I was like, oh my God, this is huge, because I made it to like a 500 gram block, which is like this big, and I don't know, it was ridiculous. It was way too big. Way too big. It was like, damn, this is a small amount of butter. Okay, let's just go for this one to start with, and then we can make the bell to fit in here. What I'm thinking is the bell will be far smaller and it's gonna shrink, so maybe it will fit half a block of butter into it. Let's measure her up. How is that 9.5? Are we in a simulation? I guess they do look the same. This is just taller. It's 7.5 tall, and the middle measurement is 8.5-ish. So I should throw the top of the bell to 8 centimeters so that it can fit. Maybe I could go 7.5. Okay, I want to know how deep the inside is. That's 7. So, oh, honestly stunning. That's a 0.5 centimeter wall and a 0.5 centimeter base. Anyway, I'm just drawing on this bench beside me, writing down these measurements. I'm going to throw the base pretty thick on this next one. I'm going to throw it to 9.5-ish high. Maybe I'll go 10 wide at the top so that I can trim it down to fit the top of the cup. The thing that I always do when I'm doing experimental pieces like this, not that it's super complex, very much within my capability, but I always measure slightly wrong because I'm just not that good at measuring. I always make a few so that I can decide which one kind of fits the best, and it gives me some room for making a mistake. Proud of that one. I'm not proud of that one. I hate you. And then throw the bell. So we know that we need a cup here and we need a base. So I'm centering the clay just for a normal pot. Maybe I'll go a little bit wider. And I'm going to separate the pot part from the flat part. Okay, so this is going to be my wee cup. So I'm going to open up and just pull that wall up a wee bit. Okay, let's measure this. I feel like that's the shape I wanted it to be. 8 wide. I was gonna go for a little bit higher, but maybe it's fine because it needs enough. It needs some space for the water. So that's 7.5 high. Oh my God, it's 9.5. That's exactly what I said. I'm gonna push it out just tiny bit wider just so that we can trim it down and make sure it really fits on there perfectly. I have actually left less clay than I would have liked for the knob. Okay, so that's set one. I'm going to write on them set one, and then I'm going to make a couple more and we can decide when they're dry how they're doing. Okay, let's see what we've got. We've got set one. This is the first one I made. Pretty good. Set two. I've got a more round kind of profile here, which I really like. Number three, which I made purposefully a little bit smaller so that I could get a slightly thicker base. We've got a more square profile for the bell itself. So I'm happy with that. Obviously, not happy with this hot mess, so that's going in the reclaim. Other than that though, I feel like a success. Looking forward to seeing how these dry, and I will be back in a day or two, depending on how quickly these dry, to trim them. Good morning. My microphone isn't working, so I'm going to do a voiceover for most of this part too, but I wanted to show you these now. It's been 2 days. I let them dry overnight and then wrapped them up yesterday, and they're ready to trim now. Ooh, whoops, they're upside down. Here they are. This is what I'd drawn, you know, this is what I thought. And then inside, a butterbell. So nice. And then this will go back in. And that's that. This one here is kind of my favorite. I like that it's less belly and more straight up and down. However, we can see it's too wide on here, but it is my best chance of being able to trim a little handle into it, a little knob. These two, I'm gonna have to leave them because they're way too thin. There is the option of adding something on top and it would look a little bit like this. This is a pot that I made a few years ago. I think that the ball on top option is a little bit too cutesy. So we'll see. To be honest, like, you can just grab them on the side, and that's kind of how I do my teapots. So I don't think it's too much of an issue. I think that's probably actually easier than grabbing something small. But this one I will trim that into just to see what it's like. And then these two, we'll decide later. So I'm going to trim them now. I'm just going to attach them to the wheel like this and then trim them down. These two are pretty much exactly the right size. This one I clearly need to trim a little bit down on the lid. I'm gonna just kind of do a little voiceover talking about what I'm doing. I attached the cup part of the French butter holder to the wheel, and then I put the bell part, I don't know if we're calling it a bell anymore, but we put that part into the cup and sort of adhered it and then trimmed onto that. And the reason I do that is so that I can trim the sides exactly to the same profile as the jar itself, as the cup part. If you measure it, like, you can obviously work to a measurement, but this is almost like a little cheat way. So then I take it out and I flip it upside down and I trim the inside of the bell part. So this bit, you just center it and kind of really carefully like squash it onto the wheel head. That comes with practice, and you kind of can understand how much pressure you need to put on it. But I was just kind of tidying up this wall. I wasn't doing too much shaping at all. It was more just a To be honest, I don't really know why I did this. I didn't need to. I just kind of enjoyed the process of it. Lovely, all tidied up. And so that gets a sponge down, and then that's that part is kind of done. So remove that from the wheel. Boop. This part I just trim as usual, so I clean up the base, clean up the walls a little bit, and then I add the little 45-degree chamfer. I don't know how to say that word, chamfer, into the side, which just kind of makes it look nice and finished. And then just like the bell part, this bit gets sponged down and it's all pretty much done. I'll just stamp my little Mae Ceramics stamp on it. There it is. Clean up the rim. And then I like to just check that everything is fitting together properly. Oh, look how nice that is. All looking lovely. I'm so happy with my work. Pretty much the same thing with the other ones, but this is the one with a thicker base, so I'm adding in this little handle. So I'm just trimming it in and kind of refining it with my tools. And then that gets a sponge down, and everything else is the same as before. Then I thought, you know what, that lid from before actually looked really cute on the butterbell. So, not the butterbell, on the French butter holder. So I decided to add a little knob of clay. The way that I do this is by throwing it on. I've trimmed this piece and it's kind of finished and ready to go. I have just attached it to the wheel, scored and slipped both sides of this clay, adding a tiny bit of water. I don't want to add too much because you don't want to soften the clay and kind of deform it. And then I'm just throwing straight on top of the leather hard lid. My autofocus was really struggling here. I'm very sorry that we can't really see what I'm doing. I'm throwing, but just with my fingers rather than my whole hands. Once it's really attached to the lid, I go in and finish any shaping with the kind of scoopy end of my wooden knife tool. I'm really getting into that corner mostly, and then just kind of shaping, like making this bit really round, because it's quite important. If you want a round little knob, you've got to shape a round little knob. And then everything gets sponged down, and because that knob part is much smaller than the rest of the pot, it can just kind of dry at the same rate and it will all shrink together. So here's 3 different variations, which I'm very excited about. This was like a week later, and I gotta tell you, the change in the weather in the studio was crazy. It was so hot that day. Anyway, here they are, they're out of the kiln. Sweet babies, burning my hands, but I'm so happy with how they're looking so far. This one is my favorite. Annoyingly, my microphone isn't connecting to my phone, and the audio quality in this video is not going to be very good. Usually when this happens, I can connect it to my laptop and then that's fine, but it's also not connecting to my laptop. So here we are. We've got slightly worse audio than usual. Soz. I've just unloaded the kiln and we have 3 cute little butterbells and it's glazing day. Let's discuss what we're thinking. I reckon this guy is an unexpected winner. He's cute. The knob on the top, surprisingly lovely. You know, it's so endearing. So he, I think, is going to be the one that I'm going to make for Lucy. Then this one here, I'm considering keeping for myself. It's sleek, it's chic, it looks nice. This is kind of my style. And then this one here is actually quite hard to open. If I was to make this again, I wouldn't do a trimmed in knob like this. If I was going to do this, I would make it a lot higher so that it's far easier to grab, because this is actually, it's like not that functional. You'd probably just grab it like this, like you would this one here without the knob. Something to note is that I usually would glaze all of them like this, and then I would put them in the kiln like this, and have put some wax resist around here and around here. That means that when you fire them, they shrink at the same rate. And so everything will all fit together once it's out of the kiln. However, I don't think, like there's not much wiggle room in there. So I don't really want to risk firing it like that and then them sticking together. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna glaze the whole thing and white around here. In the kiln they can just sit like that, and fingers crossed they shrink at an appropriate rate to be able to fit. This one, Lucy wants it in pink, so I'm gonna glaze that one in pink. This one, I think I'll probably also glaze in pink, or possibly mustard. I think I'm gonna go mustard because it's like buttery, you know? Might paint some stripes on it for myself and some wax resist. And then this one, maybe I'll do in pink as well, just as a backup in case this one doesn't work. I have a whole lot of other bisqueware over here that needs glazing as well. So we're gonna glaze this one first. Pour it in, hold it for a sec, pour it out, turn this over, and I'm gonna grab it right at the edge there where I'm gonna wipe this anyway, so I'm gonna hold this as close to the edge as possible. Plunge it straight in, hold it there for a sec, and then bring it out. Add to the touch. This is an issue. I think there were just some glaze bubbles, sorry, at the top. So I'm gonna top this up with my finger and then we can fettle it. Doesn't look right. And the same with this. This one's the one that's for me. I've taped it with this tiny masking tape that I have, and this is the top. I'm gonna paint where I haven't taped in wax resist, and then take all the tape off and then glaze it in yellow. And I think it's gonna look really cute. Hopefully that will look like a sun. Never tried this before though, so who knows? Might be great, might be terrible. Let's try it. So I'll let that dry and then I'll remove the the tape. It's such a vibe, this color. I'm just trying to remove any like excess wax with my brush, just so that it can dry a little bit quicker. Okay, the wax is dried. Slowly remove it and hopefully, yeah, I don't know if you can see that on camera, but it's left a little wax resist mark. You'll be able to see it properly in a moment when I actually glaze it. there's more of this yellow glaze. I'm gonna dip the whole thing. I can't wait to see this appear. Glazing is without a doubt my least favorite part of ceramics because I hate sponging. Not nice. Okay, so that's the bell part of this one, and then this is its buddy, and then this one, which still looks pretty bad, hopefully won't look as bad once it's fired. As somebody who low-key doesn't like the sensory feeling of stuff being on my hands ever, ceramics is a real dumb career choice for me. Because 90% of the time I'll have like clay or glaze or water dripping down my arm. Yuck. Okay, anyway, that's these done. And I'll do the honey one now as well. It's funny to think that this will go yellow. Crazy. And I'm just gonna attempt to clean up some of the excess glaze that pulled on the wax by with wax resist, it's really easy to remove excess glaze. Usually I do it with a sponge, but obviously with a sponge I risk just completely ruining this like cute star pattern. So I'm just dipping my paintbrush in a little bit of water and then just like dusting the excess glaze off, I suppose. Because I love this design. I've never done it before. Like, that's just a big sun, you know? It's so cute. If I were to sell this design, it would have to, like, my price would have to go up a bit because the detail that it demands is just way more than I usually would do. My hand is sore. Right, I'm gonna finish glazing everything else, then I'm gonna load the kiln, and we will see you in a few days for the results of the butterbells. Okay, we have some results. Some good, some bad. Let's discuss. They're fine. We've got this first one, which is the one that we added a little bit of extra dots to the top. It fits, it looks great. I think he's the winner of them all, to be honest, which is interesting because I feel like he was the underdog. You know, we love an underdog story. I'm gonna give this one to my friend Lucy. I hope she'll be really happy with it. Second one, it doesn't fit. I think the knob on it is really cute and I'm happy with that. It's actually not that grabbable. I think you'd still kind of grab it by the side. Bummer. What can you do? That's a really good lesson of why you're meant to fire things in each other. I mean, I could possibly actually make a new lid, but it's not success. And then this one, which is the sunny one that I made for myself, it fits, it looks great, the glaze looks pretty incredible. Sadly, it was sat next to something in the kiln which had a really high percentage of chrome oxide in there. And the chrome in the glaze reacted to the pot that was near it in the kiln and has given it like a little kiss. But sadly, I think it looks quite crap. It looks like it's sunburnt or like it's had a life of smoking a pack of cigarettes a day, and it's just it kind of looks like it sounds like this, you know what I mean? This kind of style of glazing I'm definitely gonna do again. Like from this angle, looks really nice, and the top looks really nice, so that's good. I'll just kind of face it towards the wall. Sometimes in ceramics, or in any creative industry really, you have success and you have failure, and it's just part of it. It's part of why we test things, it's part of why we experiment, and why the successes feel so good because of the failures along the way. So I'm choosing to feel okay about this, but it is a bummer. The next step is to take these two home and put some butter in them and test them out. Hello, it's the next day and we're at my house in my kitchen and it's time to put the butter in the butterbell. This is the butter, you know what butter looks like. I left it to soften overnight because it was in the fridge yesterday and was too hard. I'm just gonna quickly give this a wash because this is still fresh out of the kiln. Annoyingly, I don't have any bread, so my plan was to like make some toast by spreading some butter out of the butterbell, but I'm not going to be able to do that, so we're just going to put the butter in the butterbell and you're going to have to imagine me spreading from it. My cats have come to visit. I'm going to introduce you. This is Bruiser. How you doing, buddy? Bruiser is, both cats actually are rescues, and Bruiser has like an old spinal injury that we don't really know where it came from. He's got a bit of a limp. He loves this and he gets this like far away look. You look absolutely insane, buddy. Sunshine. So Sunshine's also a rescue and they're both long-term fosters. Sunshine feels like a perfectly healthy cat though, so I don't know, I feel like we lucked out with him. Let's get that mic up to that. Okay, anyway, back to the matter at hand, which is filling up this butterbell. I've got my soft butter and essentially you want to like pack it into the bell part of the butterbell as much as you can. I don't like having stuff on my hands. So the idea with this is that the lack of oxygen that we'll be able to get to the butter makes it that much more stable and like it won't go rancid. Yet to test it, obviously. You want to pack the butter in as tightly as possible. You don't want to have any like pockets of air. So I'm just using my spoon to really press down. God, I love butter. I really am sad that I don't have any bread right now because I want to eat toast. Great. This was 200 grams of butter and we've used most of it. And the one that I made for Lucy is a little bit smaller, which is good because she requested like half a packet of butter. Now that this is packed, it will go into this thing, but you want to just put in like, I don't know, this much cold water and then you submerge it in there. Okay, I've got about that much water in there. Moment of truth. Hooray! And then obviously there's the water on the butter itself, but yeah, I can picture this being really good. Hi Zipper! Oh, hi! This is your butterbell. Sorry for crashing your party.
No.
There you go.
Oh,
This is a colander.
Oh, that's a colander.
Yeah.
It's a nice size, isn't it? It is a really good size, thank you. Yeah, I wanted a small one because I don't eat that much.
Yeah.
And the ones you see in the shops are enormous.
Yeah.
Thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.
And is that my colander?
Yep, that's the colander.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so nice.
It is. Strawberries in that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, nice.
Really good, thank you.
You're welcome. Trademark.
What did Elliot say?
I can't believe it's not a butterbell. So you put the butter in there and then you put water in there and then you submerge.
So
And it keeps it fresh. Update, just got back from playing netball. It's been a whole day since I've last recorded. You can see I look like a hot mess and I've bought some bread because I want some toast. So I'm gonna have some toast and I'm gonna use the butterbell. Also bought some tulips to put in this vase because these weeds that I picked aren't doing so well. This didn't start out as a vlog, but I guess it's ended up being a vlog. Like a whole 2-week long vlog. While that one's toasting, I'm just gonna nibble on the crust. I'll just nibble on the crust. Oh yeah, that's soft butter. Oh my god. This is soft bread as well. Tastes like butter. Cute. Okay, the toast is popped. I've converted to British Marmite. I no longer like New Zealand Marmite. I really feel like Marmite is gonna get people hating. Like, this is how much I like, whatever. The butter tastes better for being a butterbell. Maybe, maybe not, but it feels better, you know? Thank you for joining me on my butterbell journey, and I hope that you've learnt something / I hope you've just enjoyed the process. It's been really fun for me to experiment and make something new. It's been grand. I'll see you next week for another pottery video, and until then you can follow me on social media. I'm at mae.ceramics. I'm pretty happy with that despite this. Like, I actually think that in the context of my home now it kind of looks cool, you know, like it has sort of an interesting little flavour to it. But if we don't like it, we can just put it against the wall.